The immigration in Canada is gotten completely out of control. It has just skyrocketed like exponentially in the last few years, and it is unsustainable for Canada. And I just wanted to go over the numbers to show you how out of control this is and how they are just bulldozing over all the Canadian culture that we have. This last week of their Diwali celebration, it's just unbelievable how they've just taken over our streets, taken over the homes, and it just frankly just shit all over us. And to celebrate their go celebrate, but you don't need to do it in our streets, the public spaces, the public streets. It's just unbelievable how it's just gotten out of control. Hey guys, I'm Delana. I'm from Canada, and just seeing what's been going on the last week has just driven me absolutely crazy. And it's just so sad because I love our Canadian culture. I live here in the States now, but I had a house in Toronto for the longest time, and my kids, we go back and forth every summer, spend the summers in Muskokas. My kids know how to canoe and boat, and they were all big hockey players. So again, I love the Canadian culture, and just to see it kind of shit on is very, very disturbing. So here are some of the numbers here. You have Trudeau, which is part of the problem. They have the third world immigration in the entire world. 2 million out of work, millions on welfare, 5 million without a doctor, 1.5 million visiting food banks on a regular basis, and a quarter of a million homeless and growing. And I must say, even down the States, I know a lot of Canadians that have come down because the waiting line to get a doctor, or if they have special needs like an MRI or a CT scan, things like that, it's so long that they actually come down here and just pay cash for it. And I do believe in socialized healthcare, but I just think we're just inundating the system so much that it's just not sustainable. And that's what Canadians are. Like, we have socialized healthcare. You pour in all these immigrants, and we can't sustain it. So you can't go to a doctor because there's such a lineup, or you can't get what you need because of this influx of immigrants that it's just coming in so quickly that the whole system can't cater to it. And this guy is partly responsible. There were 500,000 in Ottawa saying that that they're online for deportation, and they say they can't figure out where 30,000 of them have gone. And here's the truth of it. It's just, again, they're just skyrocketed, and it's just unbelievable. The numbers here, we're up to, and this is what I'm saying, it's not a sustainable rate. It's just grows exponentially from 2020 on, which is probably around COVID. And then here, look at this graph, we're up to almost 3.5 million. And they're mostly coming in for the IMP, is the International Mobility Program, seems to be about it. And then we have the student permit, and then temporary foreign workers. But again, the foreign-born population it's just getting completely out of control, and then they have this crazy idea that, like, we're entitled. That's another thing. They feel entitled. They feel entitled to the land. They feel entitled, like they don't have to follow our rules, and it's just unbelievable. Have a listen here to this guy.
Stolen land.
Yeah, that's the fact. We don't want to.
Well, then shouldn't all of us be leaving Canada? Me, you, everybody, and if we're not Indigenous?
Pardon?
I'm saying if it is stolen land,
It's the fact we don't want
shouldn't
to.
you be leaving? Shouldn't I be
You
leaving?
must be immigrant, or your ancestors must be immigrants, right?
Yes.
So that is what, if we are immigrants, we got the opportunity, your ancestors or you got the opportunity. You came here the same way we came here. But we are still the best type of immigrants came here. We bring in the money. We got the education here in their colleges. We worked here. We learned those skills they told us. So this is the thing we are working on.
Yeah, they are, again, but this is what they think. Like, as immigrants, we come to this land in complete wilderness, and then we create the cities, the townships, and then they come over and they're like, "Isn't this our land?" It is. Oh my God, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's just not. It's just not the same thing. And they're like, "Oh, we're the best kind of immigrants." Well, have a look here. Is this the best kind of immigrant? This is just unbelievable. And this was actually in Ontario, California. But have a look at It's unbelievable. Yeah, definitely the best kind of immigrant, that's for sure. It's just very sad. And then we have here, they're in Brampton. Brampton, it's $100,000 fine for fireworks, but yet what happened here? Is anybody gonna get charged? And Brampton seemed to be hit pretty hard. And again, have a look
Happy
here.
Diwali, Happy Diwali.
It's craziness. It's just absolute craziness here. And then again, in Edmonton, the house catches fire due to fireworks in Edmonton. It's like they have no concept. Like, that's somebody's home. You come to somebody else's country and you wanna celebrate. Like, when we are, the Canadians here in the United States, when it's Canada Day, we don't set off fireworks. We go over to our Canadian friends' houses, and we all hang out together, and we drink Molson Canadian, and we, you know, talk shit, we talk hockey, we talk you know what I mean? It's just we all conglomerate together, and we celebrate on our own, but we're not setting on July 1st, I don't see any fireworks going on. July 4th, but not on July 1st. And even in Canada, like when we were in Muskoka one year, it's like they had, which is fine. They had it out on the lake. They had July 4th fireworks and they had July 1st fireworks, but they weren't disturbed. I didn't see any disturbances going on. But this is just absolutely ludicrous. Have a look
पी
here.
को
And
भी
this is
माता बोलते हैं और माता का हम ऐसा हाल करते हैं. This is why I started to dislike Diwali. If the smog wasn't bad enough, look at the situation of the road just one day after Diwali. शिव जी की मूर्ति के सामने यहाँ पे इतना गंद फैला रखा है. This is Punjabi Bagh Ring Road in Delhi. The problem with India is that we take everything for granted. We feel that if it's our festival to celebrate, we can do anything just because कोई ना कोई साफ करने वाला अगले दिन आएगा. Do you think this is justified just for our pleasure, just for our faith? Tell me in the comments below.
But how is it just one person has the common sense that this is just because it's our celebration, we literally don't need to shit all over everybody else. When I traveled around Europe when I was younger, or even when I go anywhere, and they say, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'll say, "Oh, Toronto." And one of the most common remarks I have, "It's such a clean city. It's such a clean city." It's like, and it is. And when you start traveling around, you start seeing, "Oh, I see why they're saying that." But that's not indicative to me of what Canada's all about. It's just unbelievable. And have a look here. They're in a liquor store and just totally taking advantage. I like what part of any of this is okay?
Hey guys, you're on live TV, eh? You're on live TV.
Designated. You're on live TV, eh? Like, what makes you think that you can come to somebody else's country and just walk into a liquor store and just start taking shit off the shelves and walking out? And there was another video I saw too. They were, I think they were in Pickering at the mall, and they went to a jewelry store and was just hammering all the jewelry and just grabbing it in handfuls, and people are just standing there going, "What the fuck is going on?" It's just I don't understand how you can come to someone else's country and disrespect the home country's culture. It's okay, bring your culture, do whatever you like. If I go over to Europe, I'm not, like, hanging Canadian flags everywhere. If I wanna open a poutine stand because I'm like, "Hey, I wanna bring some of my culture over here," have a little poutine stand or a little poutine do like, celebrate my, Canada Day with amongst my Canadian friends, and that's essentially what's going on here. It's just unbelievable to see the shit that's going on here. And then when you come to Pearson, have a look here. This is Pearson Airport. This is and then I have a cousin, who lives in Richmond Hill, and their son, she's Asian and he's white, and their son, he's obviously half and half, but you wouldn't know he was part Asian unless you saw the mother. But so when he goes in, he's I guess technically a minority. He goes, I can't get a job. He goes to a university in Peterborough, and I was talking to them about the immigration, and his mom, I know she's an immigrant, but she came over here, her family came over here, they assimilated. They did well, and I have no problem with that. They don't shit on our culture. But her son's trying to say to her, like, "Mom, I can't get a job. I can't get a job at Tim Hortons. They will not hire me. They're only gonna hire Indians." And I think the Indians have totally taken over Tim Hortons. I know there's another video I saw of a guy trying to order a double double at Tim Hortons, and they they couldn't understand them. I'm like, how can you not order a double double if you own a Tim Hortons? How do you not know what fucking double double is? It's just unbelievable. Anyway, he's like, "Mom, they won't hire me." He goes, "All my friends can," and they live just outside of Toronto. He goes, "None of my friends can get jobs. We have to go, like, way up north, and we have to get some kind of construction job. Like, we have to leave home to go somewhere because we can't get a job in the Greater Toronto area." Like, the GTA is, like, and these are kids that are home from university that probably can't afford to go live somewhere else while they work a job so they can make money to go to university the next year. It's just unbelievable. And then to watch the hockey games, I was watching a Winnipeg Jets game, and the national anthem, they were singing half of it in Punjabi or whatever it is. Like, no, this are it's French and English. French and English. That's it. Signs on the roads, signs on billboard, whatever. It's all French and English. If you call customer service, and a lot of other comments that I was reading as well, it's like I call customer service and they don't speak English. I can't understand them. How many times? And one guy said, "I have a hearing disability," and he goes, "I can't understand a word they're saying. I can't function." Or I was talking to someone here down here in Arizona, and they said that they went into a bank, a CIBC in Edmonton, and they didn't have anybody there that could speak English, a teller. So they said, "You have to come back at 2 o'clock because someone who speaks English will be there." That's acceptable if only the people there speak French. That I can't really complain there. But to not have anybody speak French or English there at a CIBC, it's just ludicrous. And the Canadians are so nice. They're so nice, and I think my kids have grown up with a lot of the Canadian culture. They Every time they're at a friend's house, they're like, "Oh, your kids are so polite," because I believe in saying please and thank you. They hold the door open for people. It's just it's just unbelievable. And they we don't come here and, like, shit all over. And a lot of Canadians have come down here. Again, they all play hockey, and I'm telling you, there's more Canadians. Like, every team that they've been on in here in Arizona, 90% of the team has been from Canada. The parents are from Canada, and they just they can't handle the immigration. A lot of them moved down here. A lot of them are ex-pro hockey players, so I'm sure they have visas or whatever. But a lot of the Canadians are down here, especially if you go to a rink. If you go to the rink, you'll see a lot of Canadians, obviously. But it's just sad. I'm very sad to what's happening in Canada, and I don't care. You can say, and I'm not racist, but I'm like, you don't go to another country to overturn their culture and their way of life. You go to another country because you want to assimilate. And that means that you can bring your own culture, then do your own thing. But to shit all over everybody and to cause a house fire because of your fireworks and you're not gonna comply with the laws that are here. And like, we just don't do that. You just a Canadian, I don't think would ever do that. I don't think a Canadian would ever go to any other country and start light fireworks off on July 1st and cause house fires, leave their shit all over the place, and not abide by the laws and say, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. So, you know, I'm gonna bring my culture with me and I'm gonna put it all in your face and shove it right up your ass." Like, we're just not like that. So, anyways, guys, please let me know what you think. I'm beyond frustrated with Canada, and I don't think the Liberal government is just perpetuating this whole thing. It's just more and more. So, anyways, guys, please like, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.